What would you like help on, mate?
Okay, so just for a bit of context, I'm about to start an SDR role at a tech software company, and I've done a lot of research, but I haven't really practiced the day-to-day prioritization and outreach yet. So, for someone who's just starting out with limited experience in this specific industry, what would you say is the most effective way to structure your day? So, like that includes like calls, LinkedIn, emails, and just hit my KPIs quickly, really.
Solid question. We've had this one a few times and we're happy to jump back into it. I think we did this last week, and Kirsten, you've been a godsend when it comes to this. I'm going to just quickly add in my 2 cents, and then I'd love to open it up to the floor for everybody else to help out Kian. So, Kian, I think the first thing that you want to do when you join this company is when you have a moment with your manager, ask them for like an onboarding plan, and ask for something that will cover you for the next 2 to 4 weeks. And within that, ask them what you're going to be learning, who are you going to be meeting, and will you have a check-in at the end of each week? So this allows your manager to kind of set your schedule as to, what you're going to cover. So you can always do a little bit of homework before then, watch YouTube videos, etc. But it gives you this feeling of not being left to your own devices and feeling a little bit lost in that check-in thing. Like, imagine if you caught up with your manager at the end of the week on Friday and they said, "So what do you think?" You could say, "I've learned this, 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 but I don't know what the hell this means. Could you explain it to me?" So those are just my 2 tips I'm going to drop in.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. All right, who wants to dive in next and give them some tips? Kirsten, go for it.
I feel like everybody's advice is pretty good on this, but just to kind of echo what Neil said, even after the sort of 2 week sort of onboarding plan, I would even maybe look at making a sort of 30, 60, 90-day plan as well, just for your own sort of peace of mind of where you kind of expect to be sort of after that. I'm not even going to lie, you could probably go into like ChatGPT and just be like, listen, I'm going to be an SDR at whatever company it is. I'm quite new to it. Could you help me sort of format out a sort of 30, 60, 90-day plan? And it just kind of gives you an idea of what might be expected of you by the end of that as well. For me, I think it's quite good that you're looking to kind of structure your day, because I feel like that's one of the most important things as an SDR that's very, very underrated. I would say the best advice to give is speak to people in a similar position to you, because it's trying to know your sort of ICP. That's when you'll have a better understanding of how to structure it. So for context, I used to work in dental software, and you could not phone between 1 and 2 because they were all on lunch. You could not get through to them. I was reading that, cameras please on, but I was like, what? Couldn't get through to them. It was murder trying to speak to people. They basically were like offline for that whole time, and they really only typically answered the phone between sort of 10 and 2. Fast forward a few months, I'm in a completely different industry, more focusing on e-commerce integrations. 1 and 2 is prime time for me. That's people's lunch. They will want to speak to me because that's a time where they actually can speak to people. So you'll have more of an understanding once you get to know your ICP a little bit more, once you speak to people that are doing a similar role, once you speak to your manager. And it's just trial and error. What works for you might not work for me, and vice versa. But I like to come in the morning. I start at 9, but I'll come in sort of about 8, do a little bit of admin, have a little look on LinkedIn, see what's popping, see what's happened overnight, see if there's anybody that's connected with me, maybe send a little message that way, try and speak to people as much as I can. And I typically start to do my calls at about 10 o'clock onwards. But again, it really just depends on the day. But every Friday I'll kind of plan ahead, see what I've got this week, who's booked into my diary, who I need to follow up on, who I need to chase. And then just kind of put call blocks. But when you do call blocks, don't burn yourself out. Maybe do like a sort of 45 minute to an hour call block, and just make sure that your phone's away, you've got no distractions. I said this last week, I would sit and scroll on TikTok all day if I could. If I could get paid for that, that would be amazing, but I can't. So just make sure all your distractions are away, and just take regular breaks. I think that's very important. I feel when you kind of go into an SDR role, you think, I need to hit the ground running straight away. I need to get everything perfect. I don't know how many years into being an SDR, but I still don't get things perfect. And it's all right, because sessions like this exist where we can all talk about it and help each other. But don't beat yourself up too much, but just try and absorb as much as you can very early days. That's probably my advice I'd give.
Kian,
That's really
you
helpful. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
love that. Love that. Love that. Has anybody else got tips I'd like to drop in for Kian?